This paper was presented at the JCT Traffic Signal Symposium 2025. Video coverage of this paper is provided by Highways News and sponsored by Mobius Networks, AGD, Smart Micro UK, TRL Software, Traffic Group Signals, AD Electronics, and 4-Way Consulting.
Okay, so what I've been looking at is what data has to do with how people drive and how their journeys can be influenced. So over the past few years, I've been looking at a range of the customer systems that we've got that feed data into their UTMC platforms. My goal really was to understand what information you can share with the travelling public, and more importantly, how that data can actually shape their behaviour in their driving. So what I've done is through this work, I've explored what data we can give to drivers in real time to affect their decisions. Can it help them make better choices? Can it help them choose better routes? And that's what I've been doing for this presentation. So, driver behaviour data in the UK generally shows a really strong tendency to routine-based journeys. So most common trips, commuting, going shopping, doing the school run. These patterns tend to be that drivers stick to those familiar routes they know well, routes they travel regularly. But this is known as the habit-driven behaviour. So that can lead to inefficiencies. Drivers often choose those same routes out of routine, and even those routes can be congested. They can be affected with roadworks, they can have incidents on them. So what they're doing is not necessarily choosing the best route to get to their destination, they're only choosing the route that they know. So what I'm looking at is, can the real-time data that's made accessible actually empower them to make smarter choices? Can it help them break out of those habitual patterns and respond to what is happening on the road right now, rather than relying on their memory or just blindly following their sat-nav? So, I've got 3 case studies which I went through looking at the data that's being provided, and I'm going to talk through those a little bit now. So, this is our first case study. So this looks at a specific customer's parking guidance system. So what we're doing is we're imagining that a driver is heading down towards Park Street car park, and they're travelling down Victoria Avenue. My question came about is, how can data help them decide which direction to take at the next roundabout? Nice and simple, one car driving down. So, that's a green car. This is my first scenario. So, this is a green car. They approach the VMS signs. Okay, so they're driving down Victoria Avenue, they approach this VMS sign. They want to go to Park Street car park, and the car park says it's open. They've got the option in the other direction to go to alternative parking, but there's no additional details. All they know is that this car park is open. So then they start thinking to themselves, okay, will I find a space? Will there be a delay? Is there going to be a long queue getting into this car park? There's lots of unknowns. So they get to the roundabout at the bottom of Victoria Avenue. They've got to make a decision at that point. Do I go left? Do I go right? How can they make that decision? They've not got enough data. In this scenario, they've got an appointment at a specific place. They've got to be there on time. They decide not to risk it. They go and find alternative parking and skip Park Street car park altogether. They don't want to risk having big queues, not knowing what they're doing on there. So, next part of the scenario is a red car. You can see it. You can see it's really exciting with my different colour cars. So same situation. They're driving down the same piece of road, approaching the same VMS sign. But this time, the sign tells them that the Park Street car park has 162 spaces available. They can make a different decision now. They're now thinking, well, okay, this road's not very busy. There's 162 spaces. Will all those spaces fill up before I get to the car park? Once again, they have to make a decision at the roundabout. Their decision is those spaces are not going to fill up. There's no issue with me getting there. They're meeting friends nearby. Confidently, they head to that car park and park without any issues. So what this really tells us is that the more data drivers have, the better decisions they can make, right there on the road as they're travelling to it. From a traffic planning perspective, it matters. If drivers behave like the green car, avoiding uncertain destinations, we can see the congestion build up. We can see the build up around those alternative parking areas because people are driving around not really knowing where they're meant to go, are more undecisive. But when data is clearly communicated, like in the red car scenario, it helps spread the traffic more easily, and then you have unnecessary diversions that the routes take. So, case study number 2. I looked at journey time data. So we get lots of journey time data through a variety of different suppliers and interfaces into our UTMC system. The access to the real journey time data can significantly influence that driver behaviour when it comes to choosing a route. So what I've seen in this case study is it showing how sharing the journey time information at key decision points can help avoid congestion and improve overall traffic flow. So, this council introduced a journey time monitoring link along a major route between Huntingdon and Cambridge. This is a stretch from the Spittals interchange roundabout to Merket's Corner along the A141, the A14 and the A1307. So the data collection began on the 29th of January 2024, and by the 7th of May 2024, the average journey time was recorded at 23 minutes and 20 seconds. To support the journey time case study, we selected a specific sign. In this case, it was aptly named V08. So as all engineers in this room know, we have very interesting names for all of our assets on our systems. This was used at the start of the route to display the current journey time from Huntingdon to Cambridge. Those journey time routes were continuously monitored on that selected route. And from the 7th of May to the 11th of October 2024, the sign intermittently displayed real-time journey information to the travelling public about how long it was going to take them from effectively the point of that sign to get into Cambridge. So during that period, the average journey time was 23 minutes and 33 seconds. But after the message was removed from the sign, we saw a noticeable change, where the average journey time increased to 25 minutes and 7 seconds. Now, there are several factors that could have contributed to this. Seasonal roadworks, slower vehicles, weather conditions, but driver behaviour also was a likely influence. Without the journey time data, the drivers couldn't assess the congestion levels and may have unknowingly added to the traffic density on that main route because they no longer knew how long it was going to take them, that there was those congestions happening, so they just added to that traffic flow. This case study suggests that when drivers are informed, they're more likely to consider alternative routes. Without the data, the decisions are less informed, leading to that higher congestion and longer journey times. And providing the journey time data at that strategic point, which is at the start of a major route, helps the drivers to make the proactive choice to improve their individual journeys and to contribute to the better distribution over the entire network. The final case study that I looked at was in the area around the Black Country Millennium Forest. The council had deployed a smart network of sensors and systems that continuously collected and analysed data from 3 key sources. The first one being air quality monitoring. So there was a specific sensor at this location that tracked nitrogen dioxide levels, which are obviously produced by car emissions. The high nitrogen dioxide levels often mean high traffic volumes, and they can then pose a risk to both public health and the environment. The second sensor was a journey time monitoring link. This was a link along the A4150 ring road, and that used sense view sensors to track the travel times and detect congestion in real time. And the third sensor was car park occupancy. This was at a car park called Fold Street car park, and that was equipped with a SWARCO smart camera that monitored the car park occupancy, giving live data on how full the car park was at any point in time. What we looked at in this case study was bringing all of these different data streams together in one location so that the council could take a proactive approach on managing the traffic and reducing congestion. So, let's see if I can get the pointer to work. There we go. So, we start with looking at the car park occupancy. So, very basically, if the car park is over 85%, then we need to set a message on a sign. If it's not, then we look at the data and display the number of spaces. Nice and straightforward. That's how a standard parking guidance system would work. But what we do is then move to add in the other pieces of data to get a more cohesive amount of information going through the system. So then we look at the air quality sensor and we say, is that over an acceptable limit? If that's over an acceptable limit, we can then do something else. If it's not, we can look at other pieces of data. And then once again, we then look at the journey time information. Now, this is important because we can display those different messages on different VMS signs. We can put them upstream of where these particular sensors are. We can move it up to avoid adding more congestion, more pollution, longer journey times to this particular area. So, as I said on there, this case study shows the power of combining all of those different sensor informations to inform both the drivers and the traffic managers. By delivering timely, location-specific information, councils can ease pressure on those busy areas, improve the air quality by reducing the idle and stop-start traffic, and make the road network more effective overall. Without the integration data, drivers don't know what's happening ahead of them. They wouldn't be able to adjust their routes, leading to congestion and environmental impact. This approach is scalable across an entire city or region, and obviously with more sensors, more complex strategies can be created, and they also can be automated. So, with this strategy in place, drivers can receive information much earlier, further back along the A434, and decide whether to continue to the Black Country Millennium Forest area or divert north or south around the city. Without that information, they simply can't make those decisions and end up contributing to that congestion. So by giving drivers the right data at the right time, we're not just helping the entire network move forward more smoothly. So, looking at what data we actually have, we've seen in these case studies that using data within the UTMC systems is incredibly powerful. It helps the travelling public make decisions, that those data-driven decisions that leads to better outcome across the whole network. This slide shows the range of data connections currently available on the SWARCO MyCity platform, and we're adding more all of the time. But you can see from how many data sources we can integrate, it allows us and you as a council to make smarter decision making, better traffic management and more responsive strategies. So, looking forward to the future, we've seen some exciting trends emerging in the world. First, I am going to mention AI, but seeing that shift towards AI-powered prediction. Instead of just reacting to congestion, you can now use machine learning models, forecast traffic patterns based on that historical data, weather, events that are taking place. And this means that you can anticipate problems before they happen and take action early, whether that's adjusting the timing signals on the controllers or updating the VMS signs. Second is the integration of EV charging data. That's becoming increasingly more important. With the electric vehicle adoption grows, as that grows, more real-time information is required about the availability, the location, queue times that might be on there. They're all additional things that can be added by collecting that data in from the EV points, can be displayed on the VMS signs. And finally, CCAM. This is all about vehicles, infrastructure, systems working together in real time, thinking of sharing the data with the traffic signals, with the signs, and with other vehicles. The CCAM integration into the connected platform can enable those cooperative strategies. Things like dynamic lane management and rerouting based on live conditions can all be done via CCAM as well. So, slight plug. My City, as you may know, I am the product manager of My City, but it is designed to be flexible, scalable and data agnostic, helping supporting all of these things that we've identified in these case studies, whether that's AI models, EV or CCAM integration. It allows to build smarter and more responsive strategies and ultimately empowering both drivers and traffic managers, better data, better tools and better outcomes for the entire network. So, I went a bit too fast. In conclusion, what has data got to do with it? Absolutely everything. When drivers are equipped with timely, relevant and localised information, they are more likely to make decisions that benefit both themselves and the wider network. By leveraging data already available to them, local authorities can make meaningful steps towards smarter and sustainable mobility. You need to know what's happening now to influence what's coming next. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andy. Well done. Thank you very much for that. That was very crisp and very clear, which I think is what we needed for the first session. So thank you for that. I'll take one question. Let me break with tradition and not ask Mark Playdale, the gentleman in the middle there, please. And can you please say who you are and where you're from? And can you wait for the mic, because it's not because we think we can't hear you, it's because it's been recorded, so your question won't appear if you don't use the mic. Please.
Hiya, thanks for the presentation. Zach Mabs, Active Travel England. Do you have any quantitative data you can share about the effectiveness of those strategies in the case study 1 and 2, so particularly for 2, like how it improved the air quality outcomes?
So we do have some. We haven't been collecting it for that long because a lot of these have only been switched on in the last few months. So what we're doing is trying to wait until we get more of that data to be able to quantify it, to make sure that we can actually see the shift change in the air quality or as in the car park, to see whether that actually makes a difference. And obviously with VMS signs, it can be a bit hit and miss, because if as a council you need to promote different things like roadworks and things, you might not be able to put journey times on for the whole amount, which is why on the second case study, I alluded to it, that the journey times weren't up there for the whole period because other information had to be passed on as well.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry there isn't time for more questions, but Andy, you're around for the rest of the day?
Yep.
Great, and very friendly and approachable, as you can see. So please grab her in the exhibition and ask the unasked questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.